Ready, foot on the brake here, foot down, launch mode activated, and let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews, and today we are in the 2024 Lucid Air Pure, and this is the rear-wheel drive version of the Lucid's lineup, and it's a really fun vehicle is what I've been learning up in these mountain roads. We're driving out around here, pretty, I would say, unassuming specification for this particular Air Pure. It's black with the bright trim. We have the aerodynamic wheels on this particular one, but the whole thing with the Pure is that you can get this incredible vehicle, incredibly well built, great chassis, fantastic suspension, cool interior, and all the looks and stuff, starting at $69,000, and that gets you over 400 miles of range, 430 horsepower, and it's still very impressive package. So you gotta look at the Lucid Air lineup now, rethink it from maybe what you thought maybe from a few years ago. It's more affordable, and you're still getting that incredible power, range, and a better vehicle at the end of the day, since all of these software updates, which are very, very frequent, consistent, and huge, are only continually improving the vehicle. Back here, of course, we have incredible amounts of storage space in the Lucid Airs across the lineup. And since this is the Air Pure with the smaller, or I think around 92 kilowatt hour battery pack, you get even more rear legroom actually in the back seats, which is a really nice touch. Pretty big trunk as well. And of course, we have that massive front trunk up there, which is fantastic. But check out the rear legroom back here. I believe we still have no soft closed doors on the Air Pure, but still nice sound there. This gray kind of interior for the rear seats. Check out how much more rear legroom I get now because we have the smaller battery pack, which cuts out the bits in the back over here, which allows you to have more room. You can kind of see that depth right there of where it would be if it were the larger battery pack on the Grand Touring. You can see we have this little storage cubby here. We also have heated rear seats as well as ventilation control back here, which is a nice touch. And you may notice we actually have the metal roof on this particular Air Pure, which is perfectly fine by my standards. Lots of headroom. I think it still looks great. You do lose out on that cool ambient light strip in the center, but honestly, I'm not complaining too much. There's so much room back here. It's so comfortable, and I'm 6 feet tall. This is my driving position as well. This is a huge amount of space. You also have some nice cup holder stuff going on back here in the center console area, some more storage. I love how this looks like that front armrest as well. Really nice design touch there. We have some nice pull straps and LED lighting and speakers in here as well. So really fantastic interior space, even for rear passengers in the entry-level Lucid Air. Nice solid door thunk as well. And let's hop on and go take this thing on a drive because it's a really fantastic experience. You can also kind of experience some of the entry-level Lucid interiors, which as you can see visually are pretty much almost identical to the higher end ones. Though we do get this really cool textile material in here, which I personally am a huge fan of, these really premium textile materials in automotive interiors. This is a great application of it. And I can tell you now, Lucid's only going to be increasing that and increasing the quality, design, diversity of these types of materials going forward. So that's going to be something really fun to look out for in the future. And of course, we have this gorgeous curved display up here. We have our preset navigation for our particular Lucid Media Drive here. A little bit of some storage over here with the California Bear in it. Again, that same nice textile material for our center console cover, which is a nice touch. Wireless chargers over here, some cup holders as well. So again, pretty much all the same stuff we have in the regular Air in this Air Pure. And let's head off. Pop it into drive here. I believe we even have a nice AC system. We don't have ventilated seats on this one, which honestly would be nice on this hot day, but nonetheless, let's head off. Now, of course, Air Pure rear-wheel drive. We of course have rear-wheel drive, which means this is also going to be a little bit of a driving experience if you're used to a Lucid Air. And I quickly noticed that right off the bat when I was getting into this vehicle. It does definitely feel different. I came straight out of the Lucid Air Sapphire, which is a monster of a vehicle, and then into this. So as you can imagine, if any one of you guys have experienced that vehicle and then come into like a regular car, which this Air is, it's a calming experience, I guess is a good way to say it, in a nice way. So how is this Air Pure like to drive? Well, we're going at low speeds here, exiting our lot, and you definitely notice a difference on the front end as there's no motors up there, which is going to be reducing the front end weight. So this means this car is a little more fun to drive around corners and around some fun tight roads than the regular Lucid Air is going to be, which is an interesting touch. Now, of course, power is down in the 400-ish range, which is still a lot of power. You're still going to rock it to 60 miles an hour in around 4-ish seconds, which is plenty potent. And up here and around these twistier roads, it definitely feels a little bit more, obviously more rear bias, a little more fun to toss around than the regular Lucid Air. I also feel like I have some more steering feedback. I have a little bit more idea of what's going on with those front wheels, as well as, again, that weight, it's now reduced from the front axle as it is rear wheel drive. And it's honestly a little bit more of a quiet experience on this interior than your regular all-wheel drive Lucid Airs. And those cars are so quiet you could hear like a needle drop, but this is even more quiet because that front motor is producing a little more additional electric motor whine and natural electric motor whine and sound. Lucid doesn't really do pumped in audio fake sounds, which I actually quite like. So you kind of hear this natural motor whine in those all-wheel drive ones that I don't hear here, which makes this even a more quiet experience. And I think what really is an amazing part to this rear-wheel drive Lucid Air Pure is that you honestly wouldn't be able to tell that you're in a rear-wheel drive vehicle. It doesn't lose traction. It doesn't like to lose traction. It's tuned so well, the traction control system and the power management system in this vehicle, where it's putting the power down properly and well for you in all situations, to the point where you kind of feel like you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, which I think is a really cool experience. And you still have that ability to switch through the different drive modes. We have the smooth, swift, and sprint. We're actually driving in the most aggressive sprint mode, which unlocks all the power, all that stuff. And it still feels this calm and nice to drive. And pop it down into smooth mode, and your accelerator pedal is even more softer. It's more comfortable to drive around. And this thing is really going to be a range beast when you are driving it day to day. 90% of Lucid Air drivers are driving their vehicles or charging their vehicles at home, which is perfectly normal and fine for an electric vehicle. But this is going to even be a better situation if you're driving this car, because it's even more efficient. Coming up these mountain roads here, you can hear how much more quiet it is if you've listened to my other Lucid Air videos. There's a little bit of this background whine to it from that powerful front motor, but without it here, it feels so much more dartier throughout the corners. It feels like a smaller sports sedan, watch out for this bicyclist here, than what it is. You have to remember, this is like a 4,500 pound luxury sedan that's now handling like something like a CT5V or a CT4V. It has that tightness and dynamic nature to the chassis that really is impressive off the first bat. Let's head up some mountain roads up here. This is where we're really gonna unlock the fun of the Air Pure rear-wheel drive. Oh, this thing's fun. And you definitely notice the reduced weight on the Air Pure rear-wheel drive versus the all-wheel drive Lucid Airs. It is so much more tossable into these corners too. The rear end is fantastically communicative. This is a really, really good driving sedan. Honestly, this is a little bit more fun to drive than an all-wheel drive touring or even grand touring may be, just because of that reduced weight on the front end and that tossable nature of this chassis, and how planted the Lucid Air of a platform it is at all times. You know, that battery pack's really low. They've done a great job tuning the suspension out, and they've retuned everything really per the car. So, you know, all-wheel drive versions, rear-wheel drive versions across the board, they're all going to be differently tuned. Got stepped out a little bit there too. Oh, this is fun. And remember, this is the entry-level Lucid Air. If you have never driven a Lucid Air, any one of the models that you're able to even drive will impress you. I can guarantee you that. And yeah, this, oh wow, this is actually might be my favorite Lucid Air to drive. You know, with the all-wheel drive Lucid Airs, you definitely notice that what's going on the front end, because there's not only that electric motors there providing, of course, incredible amounts of power, but there's also regen happening on that front end. And without that regen happening on the front end, it feels a lot more natural to drive the vehicle around, especially around corners or even just coming to like a natural stop. You feel like almost like an elephant's been lifted off your shoulders in a sense, even though like the Sapphire, for example, is incredibly fast. The Grand Touring's incredibly fast. This just feels like a little bit more of a human or more connected driving experience, which I honestly wasn't expecting, but I've heard incredible things with the Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive and how its driving experience is, and so far I am very, very impressed. Now what I do want to do is get a quick little acceleration run for you guys to actually see how quick this thing is to drive around versus the other Lucid Air family. We have a little bit of a downhill section here, which I don't think is going to be the best way to test that, but I think this might be a great place to get a little bit of an acceleration run here. Now remember, we have around 430 horsepower on tap here, which is a pretty healthy amount at the end of the day. But so far, really impressive with this driving performance. And everything in here in terms of the UI and all that stuff has been dramatically improved even since I had my Lucid Air test car back in November. All the responsiveness stuff has been sped up. Everything feels like it's been like gone through a new generation, even though it's just been a lot of updates and software changes, which I think is a really impressive feat here. Ready, foot on the brake here, foot down, launch mode activated, and let's go. So there's 60. Again, more than quick enough for what you're going to be doing in these cars on a daily basis. 4 seconds, 3.9 seconds for the entry-level vehicle, perfectly fine for me. And of course, the second you step up to like a Touring or a Grand Touring, obviously those times just drop. So if you really care about 0 to 60 numbers, you got options in the Lucid Air lineup. But for a day-to-day vehicle with all-around just fantastic comfortability, driving performance, efficiency, range, comfortability, this thing is just really fantastic, and it's a great entry point to the Lucid brand. And the Lucid brand itself, just to speak on it, is about to explode in every direction. There are so many fantastic, and I mean that in a very good way, there's so many fantastic things coming out of that brand just with the Gravity line alone. There's going to be a great launch of products. We're going to have the next generation UI design and all that fun stuff going to be coming out of that vehicle. So I'm really excited to see where the brand is going. We've heard some rumors and teasing of some even more future models down the road. So there's a lot of stuff, great stuff coming out of the Lucid Air, the Lucid brand, and their future is looking very, very bright. Now, in the most objective nature as it could be, are there any downsides to driving the Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive? Well, obviously, you know, if you're someone who really does care about all-wheel drive traction, you're going to want to obviously upgrade to a nicer Lucid Air that's going to have all-wheel drive. It's going to shell out some more money, but you're going to get more power out of it at the end of the day. Downside-wise, I really can't think of that many. You know, you can option this vehicle with a lot of the options you're going to really want and luxury features you want out of a vehicle, so that's nice to have. You have the looks, you have the tech, you have the range, you have the charging capability and power stuff as well. So I really don't see many downsides about the Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive. And again, that fantastically low entry price point is even more of a reason to consider this over some of the other Lucid Air lineup vehicles. If you just want the core fantastic bits of this vehicle. I have to say, even getting out of the Lucid Air Sapphire, this still has pretty much, I would say, like 60 to 70% of that vehicle's dynamics, performance, and everything. There's that extra 20-30% that's done on that Sapphire that's so unique to it that none of the vehicles in the Air lineup even are come close to how it's able to kind of control itself and handle all of that power. But that dynamic nature of the chassis and the vehicle itself at the end of the day is still there, and I think that's just what makes the Lucid Air so fun. And Lucid's able to do so much with their incredible efficiency, very small motor packaging, and able to do even more with a smaller battery pack than many competitors. So they're able to squeeze out so much miles of range because they're looking for that efficiency in every area. So again, fantastic stuff from the Lucid brand. I'm really impressed with this Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive, and I hope to experience way more of what the brand is coming to offer in the coming years. As always, guys, thank you for joining me on this drive of the 2024 Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive, and stay tuned for more coming on Allcarnews. Cheers.